Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. My name's Daniel Carroll. Don't take notice of the name on the video there. Brendan's our GM of training and using his account to present today. So, g'day. My name's Daniel Carroll, and I'm the Media and Communications Manager at Master Plumbers here in Victoria. And today's presentation's part of the Digital Champions project run by Master Plumbers Australia and New Zealand. And I'd like to welcome you all and thank you for taking the time to be with us today. I'll let you know from the top that today's presentation is being recorded, and you should receive an email in the next couple of days with a link that you can watch again yourself at a later stage, or send to a colleague or someone else that you think might get some benefit of what we're about to cover in today's session. So let's start by going through what we're going to cover today. The first and most obvious thing is, why should I be using social media? Next, we'll cover off on the range of platforms out there, what each of them are for, and ultimately which ones you should be on. And then we'll dive into the very valuable topic of what sort of content you should be sharing. And once you've created your content, we'll discuss how often you should be sharing via social media. And lastly, we'll cover off the types of analytics that are available and the ones you should be implementing in your social strategy to basically measure the impact of what you're doing and focus your efforts moving forward. So let's get started. Why should I use social media? Let's start with definition. Dictionary.com defines social media as websites and other online means of communications that are used by large groups of people to share information and develop social and professional contacts. So there's a lot of different definitions out there on the internet, and a lot of people have their own impression of what this means to them. But I like this one because it's nice and succinct and contains the main points that I'm always looking for. And that's number one is online communication. Number two, it involves large, very, very, very large groups of people. Number three, it's a device that enables you to share information. And number four, it's also used to develop contacts and networks. Megan Keeney Anderson, the VP of Marketing at HubSpot, a very big social media and marketing platform on the internet, has put it simply when speaking on the topic of marketing that involves any type of marketing in general. Don't push people to where you want to be, meet them where they are. This is very, very pertinent for social media. You can jump up and down and say, hey, look at me. From wherever you are, but unless you're where the people are, they're not going to hear what you're saying. And don't us Aussies love social media? I'm just going to share a couple of stats here taken from the Digital 2021 report from Hootsuite. Hootsuite's a social media marketing platform that we at Master Plumbers use. It's a pay for service. It costs about $2,000 a year. It's not necessary for everybody. Everybody's going to have their different needs and wants. There are a lot of different options available out there, but this is something that we get a lot of value out of, and this is one of the reasons why. So we get a yearly report, and that they've stated that as of January 2021, the total population of Australia is 25.64 million. Of those people living in Australia, there are 20.5 million active social media users. That's 4 in every 5 people that walk the streets in Australia are using social media. And almost just under 20 million of these people are accessing social media using their a mobile device, be it a mobile phone or an iPad or something like that. So it's a lot of people. Now, from this report, the average Australian user, they identify as a person aged 16 to 64, and this group of people represents 63.1% of the population. And we're just going to do a question now in relation to this. You could use the chat feature there to type in your answer. How long on average do you think people in this bracket, 16 to 64, male and female, how long do you think these people spend on social media each day? So if you could use the chat function to put through, the Q&A function to put through an answer. Let's see if you can, what sort of numbers come through from the audience there. Gills said 3 hours. Kat, 4 hours. Jackie, 2.5 hours. 4 hours, 1.5 hours. 6 hours, anonymous attendee. 3 hours, yep, some good answers in there. Believe it or not, it's 1 hour and 46 minutes, almost 2 hours. Now, let's think about that for a second. When you consider, the average person strives for 8 hours of their day to be spent in bed. You've got another 8 hours of that for work. That means people are spending 20% of their spare time on social media. And we haven't even begun to consider things like taking time to eat, bathe, going to and from work, and most important of all, spending with your loved ones. And interesting to point out there too that there's about 30% of this group using social media for work purposes, which is a very important aspect of this whole industry and something that's going to continue to grow moving forward. So from that, it's like it or not, the basics of that is, like it or not, social media is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. And without a strong and diverse content strategy in place, you risk falling behind. Because the reality of it is, if you don't serve up what your audience is looking for, somebody else is going to, and that's more than likely going to be your competition. So you have to be in it to win it. Next, which platform should I be on? Now, we know everyone's on social media. I've just pointed that out. There's millions of people across Australia. You move that out to the world and that just explodes. And they're on there a lot, a couple of hours a day. That's a lot of attention they're investing into their social media platforms. So which one of those are the best ones to be on to get in front of people? Well, there's definitely no shortage of social media platforms around. And I had a little bit of an experiment the other day. I asked Siri to give me a ballpark figure to work with, and unfortunately, she wasn't much help. But I'd be pretty confident in presenting a number that's in the thousands. With the next big thing is coming out every other week, and there's bigger and better things just around the corner. But let's face it, there's probably less than 20 that people really care about, or would even be able to recall off the top of your head. And at a very wide view, there's generally 5 categories that all the social media platforms usually fall into. You have your social networking platforms, which is your Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and that type of thing, which are platforms that are going to facilitate and encourage conversation and opinion. You've got photo sharing, which is your Instagram, Pinterest, the more visual platforms where people are going to share the aesthetic appeal of their brand. Are very popular for people that are selling products. You have video sharing, which is your YouTube, Vimeo, that type of thing. Video has people's attention for longer, and as such, there's a lot of money to be made through this platform for people that are doing it well. You have your interactive media, which is your TikTok, Snapchat, that type of thing. These are the newer platforms of the group, and they're usually utilizing the latest technology, like your artificial intelligence, your virtual reality, that sort of stuff. And their audience bases are predominantly the Gen Zers. So considering that when you're with your messaging, if you're trying to attract for example, as a plumber, if you're going out to talk about things that are likely to be relevant to homeowners, you're not going to have a high percentage of homeowners using those interactive media platforms. And the last one is blogging and community building platforms. So these are the ones that allow users to promote, to post interesting niche topics like you got memes, events, politics, pop culture, all that sort of stuff. So you've got your Tumblr, Reddit, all those types of things. Now, blogging is really useful in being able to market your business and share information and recommendations to your audience. But that's sort of best used on your own website where you've got the ability to capture and nurture those leads and turn them in and convert those into sales. So, if you're going to be investing into doing some blogging, really, really valuable tool to get people talking about your business and finding out the value that you bring, but it's best kept on your website. So, who out there thinks they know what's what? Another question here, again, using the same options there in the Q&A. I've gone through the Hootsuite report, and I've got a list of the 5 most used social media platforms by internet users in that group aged 16 to 64 in Australia. Who thinks they know what they are? So if you go through the Q&A, just sort of reel off what you think the most used platforms are in Australia. YouTube, Thanuja, thank you, Thanuja. Facebook from Jackie. Has anybody else got any opinions there on what they think they might be? Instagram, Carolyn. Snapchat, Instagram, MySpace, good one. I wonder if that's still around. I can't see if my page is still active back from the 15, 20 years ago. Okay, Facebook again. Well, at the top is YouTube and Facebook. There's 1% separating the two on top. A lot of people don't forget that YouTube is a social media platform, but that's one of the biggest, most monetized platforms around. YouTube, owned by Google, is a great way to get your brand out through Google. Next on the list, 10% drop to Facebook Messenger. Again, not one that's usually thought of as a social media platform, but Facebook is opening the doors to enable people to sell through Facebook Messenger and make it an easy to create conversation, which is what drives a lot of the engagement through these platforms. There's another drop of 10% to Instagram, which has been one of the fastest rising platforms across the last couple of years. Instagram, owned by Facebook. It's really, really handy if you're using Facebook and Instagram that they can both be managed through an online platform at the same time, which we'll get to a little bit later. And in 5th spot, there's WhatsApp, which is another 15% or so drop to the 5th spot. WhatsApp is really, really popular for people conversing with family, friends. I know a lot of businesses that use it to keep in touch with their team members. And there's a lot of interactive functionality that make it a little bit fun as well, rather than just sending out emails and whatever else. And I bet you're looking at that and saying, okay, what about the rest? We've got Twitter in position 6 with 30%, then followed by Snapchat, 30%, LinkedIn, 29%, Pinterest, which is 26%. And rounding out the top 10 is a platform that I think will be a lot higher in the years to come, and that's TikTok, which has got 23.6%. And for those of you that don't know TikTok, it's one of the interactive platforms, and it utilizes video to communicate amongst their audience there. And there's a lot of people that are got a heap of imagination that are using the video platform to do all sorts of cool and creative things. Okay, so now we know which ones are popular, but which ones are going to be the right ones for me? To answer that, you're going to have to understand a few things about what your wanting to achieve by using the social media platforms? Is it to drive sales, raise awareness for your brand, recruit team members, or even just basic networking with your colleagues and your consumers? Next, you're going to have to consider, where is your audience for each of these likely to be? So you'll get great awareness and drive sales through Facebook, as it's the most popular and has a very wide ranging audience. But for something like recruiting team members, you're probably going to have a couple of different options available to you there that are going to drive equal results. And last of all, you've got, do you have the time and resources, which is very, very important, something that people don't really consider before they dive in. Do you have the time and resources available to make the most of each platform? For example, can you turn around enough video content to make YouTube viable? Usually someone that's utilizing YouTube is going to be doing how-to videos and promoting their business. So to get some good quality video content up and about, there's a little bit of planning that goes into that. And there's also some time required to produce the video itself. So number one, you need somebody that knows what they're doing for that. And number two, have you got the time available to you or someone in your business to be able to do that? And then from there, you got to match each of those objectives to how each platform works. Now, for many trade businesses out there, you're going to get the best value out of Facebook and Instagram. And some people might be getting some value out of LinkedIn as well. So Facebook and Instagram are the most commonly used, as it's where all the people are. And they're relatively easy to use. They've got scheduling apps built into the back end of each platform that enable you to plan out weeks of content, even months in advance. And they enable you to nurture conversation with the people who you're looking to turn into customers. Facebook's also great for recommendations and generating social proof through their rating system. So there's a lot of talk about how important it is to have consumers understanding what other people think of your business and their experiences. So you have your Google ratings and that type of thing. Facebook ratings are equally as important. And it's easy for people to share a recommendation or recommending your brand to other people looking for the services that you offer. LinkedIn, as I said before, LinkedIn is also a great option for those looking to establish and maintain relationships with industry peers. It's a great place to learn about industry news because it's specific to professional information. And it's also a great way to invest in professional development. There's a lot of learning to be done by just keeping in touch with what's happening in the industry. There's a lot of professional development opportunities. There's a lot of coaching. One-on-one coaching is pretty popular these days, and LinkedIn Learning, a paid add-on to LinkedIn, is also very good with learning business tools. And something that I get a lot out of it is in-demand knowledge. So learning about product management and all that sort of stuff. It's really, really valuable tool. So what type of content should you be sharing? Again, it's really up to you and what you're trying to achieve. Now, you've probably heard the saying, content is king. That is very true, but it's only true when it's relevant and aligned to your goals as a business. So, for example, if I wanted to get heaps of likes or engagement on a post, I could easily go through the internet, trawl the internet for hours, find something that's trending or going viral, and then share it from my page. But unless it has something to do with my business or what I do, it's unlikely to be able to provide any benefit and help me achieve the goals that I've set out in my social media strategy. Now, you're only limited by your imagination when it comes to what you can post on social, but depending on the identity of your business, what you're trying to achieve, and of course your budget, there are certain types of content that are going to stand out amongst all the others. So for trades businesses, especially those with small teams, you're unlikely to be investing your limited resources and time in long form content like podcasts and webinars and that sort of stuff, because as I touched on before with the video, they're very time and resource intensive. So they're going to chew up a little bit of time to research and produce. So you're probably going to, it might be an opportunity to have that as something that you share from someone else. Let them do all the hard work. Now, similarly, you're unlikely to be sitting at a computer for ages, crafting beautiful art in Photoshop and then posting to Instagram. Well, it's probably going to look fantastic, but is a couple of hours of your time worth one good-looking Instagram post? It's something you just got to weigh up. The ultimate goal when creating content for social, of course, is to produce something that's going to catch someone's attention enough to stop them scrolling. Just think about yourself when you're using any of these platforms. A lot of people just sit there mindlessly scrolling. I do it myself, and I'll keep scrolling until something stands out. You go, oh, what's that? I'll have a look at that. That is a very, very hard thing to do. Just getting someone to stop is very, very hard thing to do. Now, this screenshot on the screen there is taken from the Master Plumbers dashboard on Facebook, and it shows the types of social media posts that we've posted across the last 30 days and how each of them has performed for us. Now, you'll see that there's the social media, the shared video up the top there that's performed really, really well for us. It's got a really good reach. And in this case, it's been due to a Channel 9 news story that got shared on Monday, as it included a member of our staff having an interview, and it covered a topic that's really aligned with our company messaging. So it was a really, really good outcome for us. Now you'll see on the top there, it's got that bluish purplish bar. That's the post clicks, how many times the post has been clicked. So someone stopped, they said, oh, this is interesting, and clicked on it to learn more. The pinkish sort of color at the bottom, that's the reactions, comments, shares, likes, all that sort of stuff. So it's really good for to get in with the Facebook algorithm that decides how Facebook is going to present your content to other people. The more engagement you can get, the better off, or the more likely Facebook is going to be sharing or presenting that to other people that it thinks will benefit from your content. So you'll see there the statuses, which is just basically posting Master Plumbers is doing something. That's one of the lowest performing types of content, just because it's sort of one of the more boring ones, and it's easy to scroll past because it's just text. When you start to include something that has some type of visual element, whether it be a video, photo, or a link to an article, that's when you start to get people's attention enough for them to stop and then look at it. So overall, whenever you're posting something, you have to think or understand that it presents some type of value to the person that's going to be consuming that content. So high value content is one of the following. It's helpful, educational, participatory, where it creates, it gives people the opportunity to engage, whether it's for example, it might be a a poll where you ask a question, you get people to provide answers. It could be, what is your favorite type of product of whatever? Where's your favorite place to eat? And you prompt people to answer a question. Could be entertaining, could be, most importantly, that it's unique. People love content that is unique and that they haven't seen before. And it has to be meaningful as well. So keep this in the back of your mind when you're creating content, and make sure that each post addresses at least one of these points. And you're obviously going to get more engagement by combining one or even more of these at the same time. And what you can do to promote your business from a trades business perspective is by looking to showcase your team and the work they do. That's the most common and what I've seen to be the best performing type of content. Because when it comes to researching brands in Australia, the group of people we talked about before, the Australian internet user aged 16 to 64, almost 35% of those people state that they use social media as a main source when researching brands. So if they're going to go on a holiday, if they're going to eat somewhere, if they're going to purchase a product from a specific store, this even comes down to a plumber. If I want a plumber for my work I'm doing at my house, I'll go to social media and say, hey guys, I'm looking for a plumber. Does anyone have any recommendations? That's when it starts coming through. Daniel from Airport West says, hey, I know this guy. He's close to where you live. You should get him involved, and I'll share their details on social media. This social proof is going to enable you to create, or the social proof created through social media is going to help customers with their purchasing decisions. So photos and videos of your work, both completed. Behind the scenes is really great stuff as well. Behind the scenes stuff for Instagram stories and Facebook stories is going to add a little bit of personality to the people that they can expect rocking up on your door. They don't want somebody who's going to be nasty and give them a hard time. And it works well to paint a picture of the type of operator that you are and what people, as I said before, what people are likely to see if they employ you to work for them or do some work on their property. This is amplified 100% when confirmed by another consumer through, as I mentioned before, the almighty Facebook review. Public service announcements also go well with creating trust in the community and generating leads for your business. So, for example, what I've seen a lot of plumbers do is in the lead up to winter, putting out a public service announcement that, hey guys, winter's approaching. That's where you see a lot of Jon Snow memes. Winter is coming, and it's a good opportunity to think about the things that you're going to need during that period. Your gas heater is one of those. It's important that your gas heater is serviced to keep you and your family safe. How about you reach out to us and we'll help you do something like that. The same as when it's autumn, having people clear out their gutters. There's all those type of things that you just help prompt thought in the consumer. So, hey, I didn't think of that. Next on, we're going to talk about how often should you be posting. So, in short, as often as you can, within reason, of course. Now, as I touched on before, Master Plumbers uses Hootsuite to manage our social media efforts. This is a subscription service, and it enables us to monitor all of our social channels. There's about 8 that we have at the moment. It helps us schedule posts into the future. So you might not have half an hour every day to start scheduling individual posts in. But what I tend to do is if I've got a lot of content to send out over the next week or a fortnight, I'll dedicate an hour or so in my day and generate a lot of posts and say, I want this one to go out on Monday afternoon, this one to go out on Thursday morning, and that type of thing. And you could just schedule them all to happen in the future. And then they automatically pop up on your feed when it's time to do so. And the great thing about that is that it takes a little bit of the hard work out of it by remembering to do a lot of stuff. So set a reminder in your calendar, maybe once a week or once a fortnight, once a month even, do your social media posting, chuck out a few social media posts, and then you don't have to worry about it till next time. With these tools, there's also a lot of analytics worked into the back of those. And there are some available in the free options that are built right into Facebook. Does everyone know out there Facebook Creator Studio, which is a relatively new application available directly within Facebook that helps you post stuff to Facebook and Instagram and provides a lot of analytics in the background as well. So what's up on the screen there is it's a map of the week by day and time, and it just maps out the performance of the posts in relation to the day of the week and time of the day that they're each posted. So the darker the square, the more active they were. So you see there on Tuesday at 10 o'clock, we posted something that had the best. Tuesday at 10 o'clock, we posted something that had the best engagement for that week. So what that's going to do is it's going to utilize that data to say, okay, this is when you had best results last time. I suggest you posting around these times and days to get the best engagement moving forward. Now, Facebook have some really useful stuff as well inside their Insights dashboard, which is in the back end of the Facebook platform. What's on the screen there is it shows. Go back a bit. It shows each day of the week and how many of your followers were active on social media in that day. So Master Plumbers has got a fair few followers on social media, and that's about 70%. So we've got about 10,000 followers. So it's about 70% of the audience was online at any one day. And the time of the day that they were on is also graphed out there. This is in American time, so I have to move those around a little bit to reflect the local time. But that just gives you a bit of an indication that, it slows down when people are asleep and it really picks up during the day. There's a couple of peaks around knockoff time and into dinner time where you can expect people to investing more time into scrolling through their phones. So you got to utilize, it's really important to utilize this type of information to identify what's the best use of your time. So where am I getting with this? It's, as I touched on before, it's really important to understand to make the best use of your time. If you only got opportunity to post once a week, good. But make sure it's worth, you post it on the best day to do that. So there's a lot of people out there that try and post once a day to social media, twice a day, 3 times a day, but it's up to you to determine how much time you have to do this. So look up the stats, make sure you're picking, if you've only got 1 or 2 opportunities a week to do something, make sure you're picking the best options to do that and to maximize the impact of your efforts. Now, like any task you do in business, it's really important to understand how that task is contributing to your overall success. So everything from how much you charge per hour of work right down to the manner in which you answer your phone reflects on your brand and your ability to run a successful business. It's the same with social. Founding father of the United States of America, Benjamin Franklin, once said that time is money. Ironically, he's the face of the US $100 bill, but it's a very, very good quote and something to think about, because if you're going to invest time and resources into maintaining a social media presence, it's a good idea to at least keep track of how those efforts are performing. So it can help you straighten up if you veer off track, or it can indicate that you need to change tack completely if you find that what you're doing is not gaining any traction at all. So if time is money, invest wisely. Luckily, there's some easy to use analytics tools, some of which I raised earlier on most of the social media platforms, that present you with some high level info that demonstrates the performance of your post. The example on screen is a screenshot of the content published by Master Plumbers through Facebook over the past 10 days. You can access this dashboard through Insights on your page, and then go to the post tab, and this should pop up. You'll notice there in the middle with the box around it that there are 2 posts that stand out amongst the others, mainly in regard to the reach. Coincidentally, they were both shared on the same day. The top one was a video, or the video I mentioned before, shared by Channel 9 News about the importance of having your gas heater service in the lead up to winter. And the other is an article from the Australian Plumbing magazine about updates to gas standards. So both these show high reach, and most importantly, have some good engagement statistics. So that's the bars on the left and right. It indicates how people have posted, a reaction, comment, and even shared the post. So these things are great to see, as it shows that you've presented something that has captured people's interest enough for them to stop and engage, which is exactly the type of thing you need to happen for the Facebook algorithm to notice what you're doing and present it to more people who it thinks will appreciate the content. So it's very, another thing to point out there is that the 2 things that performed well were industry specific things. So the gas standards and something that reflects on the health and safety of the community in regard to maintaining a properly working gas heater. And if you're not seeing the results straight away, don't worry. Facebook, social media in general is all about experimentation. So experiment with different content, different types of day, different days of the week, different times of the day, photos, videos, all sorts of stuff. Just throw together a few different experiments until you come across something that starts to work for you. And when you're comfortable with the results that it's providing for your business, remembering not to lose sight of the goals that you set out when you entered this project. But yeah, throw together a couple of different options. You'll soon you'll find out something that works better for you than the others. But remember, you came here for a reason. So don't lose sight of what you came to do. And a parting note for me from about social media from Melanie Dodaro that really resonates with me is that people don't care about your business. They care about their problems. So be the solution that they're looking for. When you're considering your social media strategy, try to focus on providing value to your audience at every stage. If you're not providing value to your audience by sharing something, you probably should think about doing something else. And always remember that social media is a two-way street. Don't forget to respond to the people that engage with you. They're taking the time out to engage with some of the content that you're sharing. So it's always good to return the favor and continue the conversation, because at the end, it is social media. That's what it's all about. So that's it for me today. Have we got any questions from the audience there of things that people would like to know more about? Happy to stay on for a couple of minutes and answer some questions. If you remember, you've always got the option as well to reach out via phone, and we'll have a conversation or send an email through. But yeah, we're always here to help. No questions for anyone there? Not quite. Okay. Oh, one question here. Thank you. No problem at all, Kat. Good to hear from you. Can we watch the session if we couldn't log in on time? Yes, Kevin. Anyone who registers for the session or was actually present today will get an email in the next couple of days that has a link that enables you to watch the replay at your leisure, and you can even share that with your colleagues and other people that you'd like to enlighten. So, of course, social media is a really big subject, and we could probably cover a lot more. There's a lot more to look at. I've been doing a little bit of research lately on how the Facebook algorithm works and what you need to do to make the most of your posts in regard to that. But that's a much bigger topic than what we can fit into 40 minutes online. So stay tuned to Master Plumber's website and the magazine. We might be able to share something through that. Jackie says, thanks. Look forward to sharing. Okay. Looks like we don't have any questions, so I might call it a day. Thanks everyone for taking the time to be with us today. And on behalf of Master Plumbers Australia and New Zealand, we wish you all the best. Take care, look after each other, and we'll see you again soon.